We all have favorites. Favorite podcasts, favorite TV shows, favorite books, favorite movies. Frequently I get asked, hey Dio, what are some of your favorites? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to break down for mortgage sales professionals, what are my 5 favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Dude, both of us back from vacay.
I know, right?
Yeah, how was the Caribbean?
The Caribbean?
Yeah, weren't you down in the Caribbean?
Yeah, the, shout out, where'd I go? Cayman Islands, Grand Cayman.
Grand Cayman. What is that movie with Tom? Was it Tom? Tom Cruise was The Firm. You remember The Firm? I think they sent him down
Really?
to the Cayman Islands and like shit went sideways and that's when he almost died or his wife almost died.
In real life or the movie?
No, in the movie. It's a book. The
Why-
Firm was a book turned into a movie.
Can you tell me why everybody used to talk about hiding their money in the Caymans in the 90s, and is that still a thing?
I do not know if it's still a thing. My guess is that it's still a thing, but it's nothing like it used to be because I do understand that the U.S. government has been trying to find ways through new tax codes to make that type of strategy less appealing. Yeah, but I have not studied that, nor do I know anyone who has deployed that strategy.
Right.
I have friends. I don't have friends with money. Or I know people with money, but not that type of money.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, yes, it is a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it still goes on for taxation purposes, or if you're a criminal because you're trying to hide your money. And maybe in certain countries, those assets aren't seizable, right? Just like certain countries don't have like deportation or extradition rights to the U.S. So like if you're a criminal, maybe you want to go to a certain country because you won't be extradited.
Shout out those countries.
Shout out those countries and shout out to those criminals.
I did realize everything's fake because the 7 Mile beach, the world famous beach, they import all the sand. Everything is a lie.
No way.
There you
All
go.
right. There we go, John.
Okay.
So let's get into this. I teased it with the intro. We're just going to talk openly because I get this question when we travel. I get this question when people reach out to us on LinkedIn. First name Dustin, last name Owen. Pretty easy to find, and I'm very accessible. And sometimes people, it's less geeky technical, and it's more like, dude, hey, what are some of your favorites?
Yeah.
So instead of me constantly having to repeat myself, let's create a podcast episode that we can eventually direct people to. Oh, you want to hear my favorites? Here's some of my favorites.
Okay.
So you have the list. What's the first one?
I think so. Let's start with the most boring and basic. What are your favorite books, Dustin?
Okay, my favorite books, which truth be told, full disclosure, I did not start reading until I was 40.
That's what's up.
Okay. You're not even 40 and I got you reading. So look at that. You're an overachiever.
You can go to the library and rent books for free.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Why do people buy them?
I buy them because they're trophies.
No, I don't. People are like,
Look at my bookshelf. Look at my backdrop on my podcast show. Look at all the books I've read. Fucking nerds.
I'm a nerd. And I also love to give books that I love as gifts.
Right.
Or I like to be the library and loan them out to somebody because I think one of the greatest gifts you can give someone is the gift of knowledge.
Right.
Right? So why not give them the opportunity to expand their horizon through a book that you've already read and you recommend? Plus, I hate to save someone $25.
I know.
I just hope they return the book back to me. Okay. So I get the question a lot. What are some of your favorite books? I'm going to start with, you all have heard me say it over and over again. And if you join LO Launch, I'm going to make your ass read it. Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's the first. Atomic Habits by James Clear is the very first book I'd have you read. The next book I'd tell someone to read is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. That's more of a sales and negotiation book, but you can use his teachings, negotiating purchasing a car, negotiating what you and your spouse are going to do for dinner, or negotiating whether or not a client should become your client and why they should choose you and not your competitor. So Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss, is always a go-to. Extreme Ownership by Jocko. Extreme Ownership, again, these are things that apply to my business world, but they also apply to my personal life. So Extreme Ownership by Jocko, those are the first 3 that I'm going to start with. Now, other books that I recommend, and I try to give a variety. I once read, at the recommendation of a friend of mine in the industry, I read Untethered Soul. Now, I am not a spiritual person. I'm not an overly religious person. I was raised Catholic. I don't practice religion in my household. I don't fault people who do.
I do.
It's just, it's just my and my wife's personal choice.
Yeah.
But Untethered Soul is more of a spiritual, religious book, but it cuts to your soul and it puts a lot of things in perspective. So I like to throw that one in there because it is a book that I read. It is a book that I enjoyed, and it's a book that I would recommend. And then after that, it's like, wow, okay, take your pick. Because I've read some good books, like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a good book. I don't know if it's going to make like my top 5 you must read, but it was a quick, easy read. Raving Fans, really good book. I think it's Ken Blanchard. Don't know if I'd put it on my, oh my gosh, you have to read. But for those of us that work in the service industry, you should. Right now, I'm reading 10X is Better Than 2X. That one, I'm only halfway through. That one may very well make the top 5. And I really do like, and we had him on the show, Phil Jones' book.
Shout out Phil M. Jones.
Yep, shout out to Phil Jones. Exactly what to say. Here's my thing. It's not an issue. My thing with that book, to me, that's more of a workbook. To me, that's something that should sit on top of my desk, and I should look at it the way people read their Quran or the way people read their Bible. Right, that to me as a sales professional is something that sits on top of my desk, and maybe I just read one chapter because it takes 3 minutes. Then I spend another 7 minutes word playing how what I learned would apply to my industry. So I, again, love the book. Big fan of Phil. Big fan of Phil.
Awesome.
But I don't know if that would make a top 5. But maybe we'll stop there, and we'll ask you all. Hit the comments in the YouTube channel. Like, go find this episode on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. If you're already on YouTube, comment below. I'd love to hear what would be your top 3 recommended books.
What do you think mine are? Let's go.
Go ahead. What are they?
If I've read it all. The number 1 book for me all time is The Epic of Gilgamesh, because that taught me the most about how things really work. After that, it's the Waldo, Where's Waldo series. Really,
okay.
The yellow, the blue, and the red one. Remember, as children, we used to get them from BJ's or Costco's as a child. And that's it.
The first book I read was Bo Knows Bo. Like I read. Like the very first book I ever read was Peter and the Penny Tree. And I remember I read
Lord of the Flies.
I never read Lord of the Flies.
I failed that book report.
Nor have I read The Hobbit or any of those like.
Oh, that's such.
I haven't read any Harry Potters. I did read.
Yeah.
I did read all of the Hunger Games.
Okay.
Except for the most recent one. I haven't read it, but I watched the movie. And I did. I read the first 50 Shades of Grey. I could not get through the second one.
Trash.
I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about.
Trash.
So I read that back in the day. But I remember being in 6th grade and I was enamored by Bo Jackson and his either biography or autobiography. I don't know if he wrote it or someone else wrote it, but came out and it was Bo Knows Bo.
Nice.
And I remember it was the first book I was reading. There's F words in there. I'm
And
like,
you're
oh
like,
my
whoa.
gosh. And my mom's letting me read this.
This is awesome.
Yeah, because my mom once took away my Appetite for Destruction cassette tape, which is Guns N' Roses, because she heard one of the words had an F-bomb in it. And I think I was like in 5th grade.
Think about what you just said. It brought you joy to read F-bombs in a book. Look at how far we've come. Look at how far we've come as a society. All right, next category, Dustin.
Next category. All right, what do you have?
What are some of your favorite news publications to stay abreast on?
Okay, so news publications, full disclosure, I despise mainstream media. Yes. So you will never see me watching CNN. You'll never see me watching Fox News. You'll never see me watching... what's the other one?
You seem more of like a Russia Today kind of person.
I'm not a Russia Today. I'm probably more of a BBC, right? You may see me with BBC or NPR.
Yeah.
I may be willing to tune into. But no, I really try to stay moderate, in the middle, purple.
Yeah.
And I understand, especially from being a subject matter expert in the mortgage industry and reading what mainstream media says about my industry, and they're so either surface level or so just like wrong that I'm like, well, if that's about my industry, I can only imagine. I can only imagine how wrong they are about other industries where I'm not the subject matter expert. So I don't tend to lean into. I do read the headlines. I want to know what's happening in popular culture. I want to know what's going on in the world. I want to know what's going on in my local community. But when it comes to like industry related publications, yeah, my number one, and these are partners of ours and these are friends of ours. Shout out to Housing Wire.
Yeah.
Like Housing Wire. In fact, if you're a T-Lot member, you have discounts to become a like platinum member of Housing Wire, but You can actually get Housing Wire for free. You just don't have access to all their articles for free. So Housing Wire is one of my go-tos. On top of that, I'm a big proponent of the Mortgage Bankers Association, the MBA. And if your company is a partner or a member of the MBA, sign up for MBA News Link. By the way, all this is on the TLOP online website. So if you go there and you click the right links, then you'll be able to have access to how do I get a hold of Housing Wire? How do I get a hold of MBA News Link? I read Rob Chrisman. So shout out to Rob Chrisman. That's a daily email that comes out. If I had a caveat, I hate using the word issue with it. A lot of it is way over the head of the street, ground force mortgage loan originator, those guys and girls, those mortgage brokers and those LOs that are out there making it happen. A lot of what he writes about, it doesn't really pertain. Okay. It pertains more to like CEOs and divisional executives than it does to the average, originator, like those guys and girls that are making it happen on the day to day. So, but that I still, let's say, read it daily, but read is like I skim through it. Yeah, I have to sort through. There's a lot of ads in there and advertorials, but nonetheless, I do read it. So shout out to Rob. He does a phenomenal job. And I've been reading his stuff for like the past, 10 plus years. Inman is something that is more real estate specific. But if I'm a mortgage loan originator and realtors are my clients, then I should probably subscribe to Inman because they're writing news articles geared towards real estate, and I should know what's going on in my client's world. I love what David and the crew over at Bridge Builders is doing. Bridge Builders, also known as Keeping Current Matters, depending on if you're a realtor or a lender. So I like to keep up on what they're doing. A lot of their stuff is basically stuff I can share with my clients, with real estate agents, or I can share with my borrowers. But my go-tos, my true go-tos, like I must read Housing Wire every single day. I must check out what's going on in MBA News Link.
There you go, Dustin.
Yeah. So that's what I'm reading.
What are we? Oh, read. No, you said that.
You want to talk about TV shows?
Oh yeah, TV shows.
Like mortgage or business related TV shows.
If those even exist, Dustin.
Yeah, TV shows. My wife and I. Can I supposed to say my wife? I don't think that's even a word.
Yeah.
My wife and I always have a particular TV show that we're watching, right? I think you and I are talking about like collectively, not together like the four of us, but you and your wife, my wife and I, we live about 8 miles apart, but you all are watching.
Get him, Mike, if you don't get out of here, Bunny Washington, if you don't get out, Mike. Yeah, that's good.
That's a good Bunny Washington.
yeah.
But what is that? That's Mayor of
Kingstown.
Mayor of Kingstown. We just watched a really weird, it came recommended, weird show on Amazon. The Something in the High Tower.
Man in the High Tower.
Man in the High Tower. Did y'all watch that?
No, I gloss over it.
Dude,
I don't watch shows. But
Michelle enjoyed it. It was painful for me to get through.
Really?
And we just got to the first season finale, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to watch season 2. I watched Hard Knocks. I'm getting into Hard Knocks right now.
I don't have access to that. You have to share your password.
Yeah, okay. But let's go. If you're a business professional, if you're a mortgage sales professional, I love Shark Tank, and I love The Profit. Shark Tank and The Profit, to me, open my world to a very basic level, surface level, but to the inner thoughts of entrepreneurs, of sales professionals, of business leaders. So I enjoy watching The Profit with Marcus Lemonis, and then you have Shark Tank. And what's cool about Shark Tank is something you can watch with your kids. And both my kids got into Shark Tank when they were probably 8 and 12 or 8 and 11. And if I turn it on, they will still watch it. Nice. And both of those shows, probably on, I don't know, A&E or Discovery or TLC. I'm pretty sure like if you turn on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can watch a whole marathon. Because both shows, probably like our podcast, have like 400 plus episodes. So yeah, but those are 2 TV shows that I would recommend. Like, hey, if you're a business professional or a salesperson, you should check them out. They're entertaining, and you can learn a thing or two.
The only show to watch on television that's on cable is PTI. That's the only show.
I hate PTI.
And once that show goes off, I don't know what the hell I'm going to watch.
I don't want to listen to 2 grown-ass adults argue.
That's what this show is. That's what podcasts are.
But you and I argue so infrequently. Yes,
I don't
you give
argue.
me shit.
I don't argue because you're right, though, because you be right about shit.
Yeah.
Like numbers, empirically, you be right.
No, but I think what makes this show what it is that you do ask the questions that the audience has, and you do give me shit when I need to get it. And I get to sit here and maybe introduce you to thoughts and concepts that on your own may have not been introduced to you, but I kind of spoon feed it or force feed it or jam it down your throat as we do to our viewers and our listeners. But
okay, so what are let's move to the next category, favorite podcasts.
Ooh, speaking of podcasts, so when you and I aren't sitting down and recording, podcasts that I like to tune into, I love what Alex Hormozy is doing. Right. So Alex Hormozy has a podcast. You know what's crazy? I don't even know the name of his podcast.
Let's go.
But it's H-O-R Mosey.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Or it's H-O-R-M-O-Z-I. Alex Hormozy. So I tune into him, and you all in the T-Lop team, they have to like deal with me. And on a Sunday, I'm like texting the group.
Please listen to this.
Please listen to this. Right. And it's usually like an Alex Hormozy podcast. Oh, I listen to Ed Milet. I don't love all of his episodes, just like I'm sure people don't love all of our episodes.
Lies.
I mean, they're fools if they don't. But no, I get it.
Yeah.
As a podcast fan, I get that although I love Ed Milet, I don't necessarily like listen to all of his episodes. But when I want to listen to a podcast, Ed Milet, who's who I go to, I think it's Milet. Alex Hormozy is who I go to. I love Business Wars. So Business Wars is something I just recommended. In fact, just recommended to our friend Kate. Kate's been a wrangler out at the 7D Ranch.
All right.
Our first year in 2016, and then she came back this year because she's on like a little sabbatical. I mean, she's a badass in her own right and a super sharp young professional, but she's currently a career transition. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to spend my summer back at the ranch. I'm going to work as a wrangler, and then when the season ends, I'm going to go back into the corporate world, and she's going to make a career transition. And she and I were talking about favorite podcasts, and she had shared with me this one called Founder. And Founder sounds a lot like Business Wars, but I have not tuned into Founder yet, but I think it's Founder or Founders.
Okay.
But I would tell people, what do I listen to? Alex Hormozy, he teaches me how to sell, how to market, how to think bigger. Ed Milet, because he has really good guests on from time to time. And that could be more inspiration, or it could be more mindset, or even sometimes motivation. Mm-hmm. So I go to Ed Milet. Occasionally, I will tune into Joe Rogan. I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan. And when Joe Rogan has a guest on that I want to listen to, or if like someone like you said, Dio, you should listen to this episode, I will. My knock on it is that it's 3 freaking hours. So getting through that is sometimes difficult, but I am a Rogan fan. I mean, heck, I talk about this show. Mm-hmm. What do you hear me say all the time?
It's like if Joe Rogan and some Dave Ramsey guy had a baby.
Yeah, if Joe Rogan and Dave Ramsey had a baby, it's going to be T-Lop. At least that's how I look at what we do. But those are my 3. If I had to give you 3, I'm going to give you Business Wars, I'm going to give you Alex Hormozy, and I'm going to give you Ed Milet.
I actually don't listen to podcasts because I don't give a shit about other people's opinions.
But you don't listen to podcasts that are sometimes like, there's podcasts that are all about like unsolved mysteries and aliens. And
I'll watch like the shit on TV, but I don't have time to listen to people ramble.
Okay. Did you not like talk radio as a kid? I said, yeah, you would have been a kid. I was a teen. You were a kid.
We're the same age bracket. You're a millennial, Dustin.
No, I'm not. I'm on the cusp.
By seconds.
I'm on the cusp. I'm literally 1 year and 1 month away from
growing up, I didn't listen to the radio because I couldn't, so it was just NPR. That's what I listened to. Today on Morning Edition, we have, and then it was Car Talk on Saturdays. Remember Car Talk?
No, I didn't live up in New England, so I didn't.
It was a national public radio. Car Talk, nobody?
Nobody. No.
Yeah,
sometimes on Sunday, we'd have to listen to Delilah.
Did you ever call and like try to get the girl like that you had a crush on and like make a request like, oh, this is for
on Delilah?
Yeah.
No, my problem with Delilah is I actually liked the music, like some of that soft poppy music.
Yeah, slow.
But I'd be screaming at the radio like, "Shut the F up and get to the song."
Hi, I just want to dedicate this next song to Jeremy. He doesn't know me, but we work together in the school department. I think he's really cute. Well, this is for you, Delilah.
Yeah.
No, but I listen to like here in Orlando, and we've had our buddy Carlos on the show.
Shout out Carlos.
Shout out to Carlos Navarro, but To the Top, never stop. Mm-hmm. To the Top, Carlos. But I listened to, it was Monsters of the Midday, then it became Monsters of the Morning. Mm-hmm. But that was talk radio, and that was just a spoof or a ripoff of what Howard Stern was doing.
Yeah.
So then I would listen to Howard Stern a little bit. I got into, it wasn't Bubba the Love Sponge, but it was someone like that.
Yeah, one character.
That I would listen to. So I enjoyed talk radio. Even today, I enjoy listening to sports talk radio. The problem is, like in Orlando, I love Mark Daniels, and it's a little bit because I'm a UCF guy and he's a UCF guy. Mike Bianchi on his own, it's a whole lot annoying. So I'm intermittently on the sports talk radio, but I will listen to Colin Cowherd on my way to lunch. And so, yeah, I guess I've always enjoyed listening to radio, which is why when it came time to coach, teach, inspire, this was the perfect platform for us to do, even if you're not a big listener. All right, so we covered podcasts, we covered books, we covered TV shows, we covered news publications.
And finally, last but not least, favorite movies.
Ooh, favorite movies. So I'm not going to give you I'll give you my favorite movies that are just not related to anything that's work or business or entrepreneurial. Okay. Those would be Fight Club and Dumb and Dumber, Shawshank Redemption. Those are probably like 3 easy go-tos that I will watch. Coming to America, I will watch if they're on.
The best movie of all time is the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That is a phenomenal movie. I'm not going
the OG.
But I don't know if I would watch it through and through the way I would watch those movies that I just mentioned from start to finish.
When you were a child, like coming home from middle school or high school, and you watched VHS tapes, what was like the tape what was the movie you watched like every single day on VHS?
True story.
Yes.
I did not start watching TV and movies religiously, like habitually, until I was in college.
The hell?
And by that time, we had DVDs.
I had Jurassic Park in my shit every day. Every day after school, I used to watch Jurassic Park.
Did you really? Yeah. No, I'm not too much into I've seen Jurassic Park.
The first one. All the other ones are trash.
Are they? Okay, but no. So in terms of movies that I would just turn on and go. Yeah. Then those are movies growing up I would turn on and go. That are some of my favorites. Right. So, I mean, there's so many movies at this point. I'm 45 years old. I can't even remember all the movies I've seen.
Right.
And there's plenty that I've liked. I mean, I really liked Spaceballs as a kid. I don't throw Spaceballs, although it's funny as shit.
Yeah.
I don't throw that one into the realm of Fight Club and Dumb and Dumber.
Alien.
The movie 8 Seconds. I bet you've never seen it. Luke Perry's in it.
Is it 8 seconds?
That movie will probably make me cry if I watch it today.
Really?
Today. That last scene.
Emotions?
Yes.
From Dustin?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah, I can get emotional sometimes.
Okay, so let's talk about business movies.
Movies.
Yes. I'll agree with you on one of them.
Okay. Well, there's the standard, just you got to watch it if you're in sales, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Always Be Closing. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Joseph First, who put me on that 10 years ago.
Okay. So that is, what is that? One of the Baldwins is in that
Alec
movie.
Baldwin.
Yeah, but Coffee is for Closers, Always Be Closing, ABC, the things that we use today in sales more than likely came from that movie.
Very aggressive.
Yep. So very aggressive.
Yes.
So that is a movie I think is just if you haven't watched it and you're in sales or you run a business, go watch it. In that same light, I like Boiler Room. Which is crazy because Boiler Room was one of the first movies that came out that kind of depict what was going on. And the next movie I'd recommend, which is Wolf of Wall Street.
Do you know why I love Wolf of Wall Street?
Because it has the really attractive blonde in there.
Quaaludes. I would love to see those slow release Quaaludes. If anybody out there still has a pill jar, please let me know.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, John, for you, when you got into recreational drug use, Quaaludes at that time had been extinct.
I know, but just seeing it is just wow.
Do you know what you'd have to pay for one of those today?
Shit really puts you on your ass.
Yeah, that whole entire 401k you have from EA would be gone
if it isn't already.
Because John bought one Quaalude.
One Quaalude.
Okay. So, but what's interesting is Boiler Room is the same storyline as Wolf of Wall Street.
It is,
yeah, but Boiler Room came out first. Mm-hmm. And it's a good movie. There are things a sales professional can pull from that. Mm-hmm. Now, there's certain things you don't want to do. Hey, what not to do is in that movie, but also some things of what to do.
Yeah.
So, I like Boiler Room, and then obviously I like Wolf of Wall Street. It's very entertaining. It is rated R for a reason, and it'll definitely push the envelope, which that doesn't bother guys like you and I, but it could bother some people in our audience. Here's a movie that doesn't get enough attention that I think is a phenomenal movie for sales professionals to watch, and that movie would be Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, there you go.
It's a true story. It's a biopic, but that character, again, you can watch his mannerisms. You can watch how he builds relationships and builds trust. Now, granted, that character isn't someone you want to mold your life out after, right? He was a criminal. He stole millions of dollars, but he started at 17. Now he works for the FBI, and he's one of the the schmees when it comes to like fraud and white collar crime. But nonetheless, Catch Me If You Can. I love watching it from the lens of a sales professional. And I like watching how that character is able to bring people in. And I think about, okay, he did that maybe in a little bit of a gross way, but how could I do that in a non-gross way? As my kid would say, in an ick. Like, ooh, that's ick. Speaking of which, kids, I have to share this with you guys.
Good for
Yes. Do you know if I said, hey, John, that hat eats? Mm-hmm. Do you know what that means?
I mean, just through context clues and how dumb kids are nowadays, I'm pretty sure like that eats, that slaps, that goes hard, ham. I'm assuming that translation, that hat looks good on you.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what happens when you spend an entire week off the grid at the ranch where, you know, I was with my daughter who's 16. I'm with our friends Mike and Liz. Their daughters are 17 and 19. And they're saying that eats and that eats. I'm like, what eats? Like, you know, the dog eats and I eat, and they're like, no. I was like, oh shit! Like I am old, right? I embrace that.
Halfway to 90.
I try not to be old, but then I get made fun of for that. Like, hey, you're a try-hard. Quit trying to be 23 again.
I don't allow NIMBY to all that.
NIMBY not in my backyard.
Not in the backyard with that vernacular. Yeah, none of that shit.
So anyhow, I don't know how we got off on that topic, but that eats.
Yeah.
These are movies that eat. All right, so I was talking about
Boiler Room, Wolf of Wall Street, then like Catch Me If You Can because you learn how to kite checks, and then what else?
I don't want to learn how to kite checks, but I'm glad that you know that term. All right, and the last one, this is for mortgage sales professionals. Okay, and by the way, this is one of those. The book is better. The book is better. Anything written by Michael Lewis, when you're talking about books, because I didn't throw a Michael Lewis book out in my recommendation. Anything written by Michael Lewis is worth reading, in my opinion. And I've read 4, if not 5 of his books already. Moneyball, Liar's Poker, The Big Short. Okay, so The Big Short, watch that movie. If you truly want to know how did 2008 happen, watch it. Watch it. The book is better, but watch that movie. It is entertaining. You may have to watch it 2 or 3 times. I promise you, I'm a 20-year mortgage professional. I've read the book. I lived 2007, 8, 9, 10, because I became a licensed mortgage loan originator in 2004. Actually, I wasn't licensed because back then you didn't have to be licensed.
Right, you could do
but
anything.
I became a mortgage professional, sales professional in LO in June of 2004. And I've seen that movie now, and I've read the book. But I've seen the movie at least 6 times and read the book once, and I still learned something about that particular time frame. So I would encourage everyone who's in the mortgage profession, if you haven't done so, make sure you have read the book and watched the movie The Big Short.
You know what I learned today?
Yes.
That if you want to be a criminal, get so good at your craft that not only do you escape jail, but then the FBI and the government hires you and gives you a high-paying job.
Truth.
And on that note,
he's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. You've recently tuned in to so check this out, y'all. On that note, we will go ahead and find a way to wrap this up. Last calls to action, really quick. Hey, if you like what we do, don't keep us a secret. Sharing is caring. Go ahead and share this episode and the entire channel with not 1, not 2, but 3 people that you think would benefit from the content that we create. Mortgage sales professionals, make sure you have signed up for our newsletter. You can do so. It's free, tloponline.com. Anyone who is interested in going to the FAMP event, that's going to be July 30th, 31st, August 1st. That time frame, all those details are on the website, TLOP Online. Use the code and you'll get to attend for free. Come see JC, come hang out with me, and network with hundreds of other mortgage sales professionals. If you have not done so already, you need to go to the YouTube channel, the TLOP YouTube channel, and subscribe. And then finally, if you are a mortgage loan originator, a mortgage broker, an LO, whatever you want to call yourself, if you sling loans for a living,
slinging loans,
and you're looking to level up, to get better, to be less lost, to achieve the potential you know you have in you, don't try to do it alone. Come join the TLOP MLO coaching community. Dollar for dollar, buck for buck. It is the best value offered in the industry at this time. And if you're truly serious and you want some intimate, in your face, we're going to hold you accountable, we're going to assign homework, you're going to be in a small group, then consider LO Launch. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.